Hi, Ragnar. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. I've been really looking forward to our little QA today. I know everyone is eager to hear about your sports journey, your MMA journey, your training routine, and what it takes to be a fighter like you. I wanted to start
Absolutely.
things off for you telling me a little bit about yourself, about your professional career in MMA and sports, and how you became to have the name the Werewolf.
So my career started, I've always loved fighting. I've been into fighting my whole life in one way or another. Not the most positive constructive ways when I was younger, and then I started to kind of figure out that I needed to channel all of my energy into something productive that didn't destroy my life, and I got into boxing first, and then mixed martial arts. I fell in love with it. Like the 4 ounce gloves, there's nothing like connecting with 4 ounce gloves. So, and then there's just so much to it. There's so much to learn. There's jujitsu, there's Muay Thai, there's wrestling. So it's like, it's like an onion. Every layer you peel off, there's just another one, and it's so deep. That I fell in love with it. I didn't really have any amateur career. Promoters, some of them, they'll just throw you to the wolves. So my first fight was a pro fight, and I just jumped in there and I won with a second round guillotine. Um, Kind of was over my head, but I just went in there and fought and won and fell in love with it. And so then, there's no turning back from there. So I've been fighting pro ever since, and I'm 4-0 right now, and going into my fifth fight at the end of this month, and very confident that we're going to get a very decisive and violent win there.
It's pretty exciting, right? When you do something and you're like, wow, I'm actually pretty good at it. You were pleasantly surprised. So you
It
mentioned that you have an upcoming fight. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, it is. I totally agree with you.
You mentioned that you have an upcoming fight on September 28th. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this AFC fight versus Paul Amendinger?
Yeah, it was originally scheduled as a Muay Thai fight, because I've been having some trouble getting MMA fights up here, so I didn't want to not fight, so I took a Muay Thai fight. Wasn't really excited about it. I mean, MMA, I love Muay Thai, I love watching it, I love training it, but it's definitely not my bread and butter, and I train all day MMA. So Allmendinger's got quite a few of MMA fights under his belt, so we switched it over to MMA. And honestly, he will be the toughest opponent I've faced yet. I've watched a lot of tape on this dude, and he's a dog. He keeps going forward. He can take a lot of damage. He's not like a glass chin, easy to knock out dude. He's good on the ground. He's good on his feet. He's a southpaw, so we've been trying to get ready for that. And I'm excited. He's a little taller than me, a little bit of reach, so it'll be an interesting. It'll be one of those, I've got to close the distance and get inside and do some damage, and he's going to want to stay outside, and so we'll just see how it goes. But I'm confident that we're going to finish it, and we're going to finish it on the feet.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you're feeling confident. That's all that matters. You mentioned that you've been training really hard and you've been looking at some of his tapes. I really wanted to know what like your daily training routine looked like leading up to this fight.
So I'm kind of lucky. I feel like blessed in the regard that I pretty much do this full time. I do. I also. I my second real job that pays for my fighting career is a personal trainer, online fitness coach. So I have a lot of freedom and flexibility, and I pretty much live at the gym. So my day usually starts with training in the morning. Usually it's either martial arts or strength and conditioning, and then training again in the evening. And the opposite of whatever I didn't do in the morning. If I did jujitsu in that morning, I'll usually go box in the evening, or if I lifted weights in the morning, I'll go do Muay Thai in the evening. And I do that Monday through Saturday, 6 days a week. I commute into Anchorage, so where I live is about an hour away from the gym that I train at, where my coaches are, where my team is, where everybody that I love and that I train with and that have helped me get to where I'm at is. So it's a 2 hour drive every
Mhm.
day, but totally, this is a game of sacrifice. It's a hurt business, and if you're not willing to put in that work and just embrace the grind and love it, then you're not going to go anywhere in this sport.
It's
That's kind of always
definitely
been my mentality, is like, I'm just going to outwork everybody. Everybody I come up against, if they beat me, it's just going to be because they're better than me. I had a bad night, they had a good night, whatever, but it's not going to be because I didn't put in the work.
definitely it's something that you need to continuously work towards. You mentioned, I believe, your business is its name, Primal Fitness.
Yes, ma'am.
How do
Operation Primal
you
Fit.
Awesome. How do you like juggle running a business and being a professional fighter at the same time?
It's very, very difficult. For me, that and it's kind of a motto within my business too, within training people, that training's never just physical. Like, it translates into every other facet of your life. So the same discipline and the same rigidity and the same structure and scheduling and programming that you can put into your workouts and your workout plan should like translate into everything else you do. And for me, it does. Just you've got to use your time wisely. You've got like a finite amount of time every day, and so I don't spend a lot. I don't watch TV. I don't spend a lot of time wasting time. I'm either working, or I'm thinking about clients and their training programs, or I'm training myself and I'm studying, you know, training videos, and I'm always thinking about the things that matter in my life, and what I'm trying to do and what's going to move me forward. So, yeah, just stay focused. And I love what I do. Like, I love fighting, and I love training, and I love training, helping other people, get themselves in shape. So it's kind of easy. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm blessed in that regard. I don't like go to work and hate my job every day. Like, I listen to people tell me that, my clients, and it's just like so alien to me because I love what I do. That makes it
Absolutely.
easier.
Yeah. I think like loving what you do is the thing that gets you up in the morning, honestly. Um,
Absolutely.
Taking a little bit of a step back, we were talking about your fight and training sessions. How do you recover from like a tough fight or a really like draining training session?
Yeah, recovery is like key. I've wrapped my mind around that as I've gotten older. I'm not super young anymore. I'm not young for this sport. Definitely at 34. So, training, I make sure that I try to get 8 hours of sleep plus every night. Optimized my schedule to make that happen. It obviously doesn't happen every single night, but I really try to focus on that. And then nutrition is like, so key. I've really wrapped my mind around that over the last 4 or 5 years. I'm very, very, I weigh, I measure everything, make sure I get adequate protein, make sure I'm eating lots of stuff that'll help me recover. And that's helped me quite a bit. And then, I do some weird stuff too. I do ice baths and some crazy stuff, and saunas, and lots of stretching and yoga, and, get massages and see chiropractors, and just, it's kind of like a big tapestry. You got to get all the little parts in there if you want to recover and heal right.
Absolutely. Those are all great things that I'm sure that they do help you after a fight. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I I really wanted to know, you mentioned that you're going to be fighting Paul Amenninger, and you've seen that he's a very complete fighter. You mentioned that it's going to be a challenge, but I do want to know, what's the biggest challenge you've faced so far in your career?
The biggest one I faced so far in my career, my last fight against Caleb Miller, I ended up in a leg lock. I kind of clipped him with an elbow, and he just kind of fell around my leg, and that's MMA. Like, it happens in a second. And then it was first round, so we were both dry, and I was fighting a leg lock, and leg locks are like unforgiving. It's like, it's a hair's breadth. You got to do everything perfect, or your knee or your ankle explodes somewhere in there. So, and I did, and luckily, like, Southside Jiu Jitsu where I train, there's some leg locking fools. So I'd been putting leg locks by guys that are a lot better than him, and I'd been working on it, but that was definitely for me, the definitely a moment where I was like, man, I could lose this fight right now. So that, yeah, that was a challenge. And honestly, I think every fight I go into, the challenge is always like, it's always against me. It's always training. It's always, getting up early every morning. It's always, training 6 days a week, being away from my wife 6 days a week, doing the shit I don't want to do sometimes. Running, doing the parts of the game that, I would much rather just skip, but like I know I won't be able to look at myself in the mirror if I lose and I know that I didn't work hard enough. So that's always the challenge for me is just, forcing myself to give everything I've got so that I can go in there and perform.
Yeah, it feels like if you have to one up yourself. Yeah, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And talking about that, one upping yourself and everything, it's not only physical. MMA and contact sports, are not only physical, but they're also very mentally and emotionally draining. How do you prepare that aspect of your life for your fights?
Um, for me, you're right. I think this game's more mental than it is physical, to be completely honest with you. For me, I have to I love training. I have the best coaches in the state. I love working with them. But you definitely have to you have to balance your life and yourself with this sport because it consumes a lot, it takes a lot, and when you love something, you give it everything you've got. But like for me, I have to get away periodically. I have to go spend time with the dogs. I have to go spend time outside. I have to go, take a trip with my wife where I'm not training for 2 or 3 days. Those little breaks in a really hard training camp are like it's like recharging your battery, and if you don't do it, I've seen people just burn out. They talk about that in jiu-jitsu a lot, how guys will go like gung-ho 7 days a week through their whole white belt period, and then like they get blue belt and then they just taper off because they burn themselves out, they hurt themselves, and then they just get tired of it, and it's like it's too much. So yeah, you really got to combat that, but you can't be lazy about it either. So it's like, there, when you need a couple days to go like get off the grid, get in the woods, go on a camping trip, get away from the gym, and when you're just like being lazy. So finding that balance in my life is has always been key for me.
Absolutely. Balance is always key, am I right?
Yeah, 100%.
And talking about a little bit more great things, I want to know the most rewarding moment in your MMA career so far.
Oh, that's a tough one. It's every time every time I win a fight is super rewarding. The fact that I've got all these sponsors that stand behind me. I just got another one, 907 Stitch, that signed on with the team. That all these people that believe in me, that believe that I'm going to make it to the UFC. My wife's there at all my fights. She supports me. So just the team, the connections, the people, the friendships that I've made in this sport, the impact it's had on my life. It has been massive and profound. And I think that's the most rewarding part of it. Probably the most like viscerally primally rewarding part is when you finally get in there after months and months of training, and you get a fight, and you just get to let it all out and let the war wolf out. That's where that name comes from. And that to me is just it's satisfying. There's something primal about it. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But yeah, so it's hard to pin down. I moved with my coaches to Southside Jiu Jitsu. I've been there since day one, since they opened it. Moved from Legacy, the spot I was at before that, when they moved. And so, like I said, it's like, it's a brotherhood, it's a family, it's a tribe. And we've been together through this whole process. And that is what's rewarding to me, is all these people that, I can call on, that I count as true friends, that surround me in this sport. It's amazing.
Definitely. That's definitely something beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling, just very rewarding, actually. That is great. What is the most important lesson you've learned as a fighter that you'd say that you can apply to your everyday life?
That you can do absolutely anything that you work for. I mean, MMA teaches you that every single day. You see it. You can't fake the work. I think that's what's great about MMA, is it's so unlike other parts of modern society. You don't get something for nothing. You can't fake the work. Like you can't go into a gym and be like, yeah, I'm a master of MMA and like the first sparring session. If you're full of shit, it's going to get exposed. So I love that it kind of reinforces the you get what you earn, you get what you work for, and if you're disciplined and you really strive and you believe in yourself and you work hard, you can have anything. The sky's the limit. I didn't think I honestly was like, I just fought because I wanted to fight and see what happened, and then I won, and then I kept winning, and then that made me want to train harder because I didn't want to lose. And yeah, so I didn't think I'd be sitting here 4-0 looking at my fifth fight, and I didn't just. It's amazing, what this sport can do if you put in the work for it.
That is so true. And for people that are new to MMA, how would you describe the mindset required to succeed in this sport?
Um, Number one, you've got to be tough. You've got to be resilient. You've got to have fortitude, and you've got to be humble too. So it's kind of like there's this balance between all of those, and then like humility. Because if you're so arrogant that you just go in there and you know everything and you're unwilling to learn, like there's nothing more. I see a lot of like my weight training clients, these huge guys, 250, benching over 3 wheels, and they'll come in and do jujitsu and just get twisted up by a 155-pound dude who looks like he can't do 10 push-ups. And it's humbling. So you've got to have that white belt mentality that it's like there's always something you can learn. um and that's rewarding. So if you just come into it with that mentality, that you're tough, that you're going to stick to it, that you're not going to give up when shit gets hard, and that you're willing to learn and keep growing, you'll anybody can do this sport, and it's great for anybody.
Absolutely. I think that's like the perfect trifecta for professional MMA, right?
It's 100%.
I heard you mention UFC. So, what are your long term goals in MMA? Are there any specific titles or organizations like UFC that you'd like to be part of?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think everybody that does this wants to make it to the UFC. That's the big leagues. That's where everybody wants to go. That's where I want to go. I would love to go make a tear in the UFC. I'd love to make it on the Ultimate Fighter or the Contender, and earn my place there. But yeah, that's the ambition, without a doubt. For now, I'm kind of working my way through the state rankings. I want to start angling towards that 145 state strap. So we're just plugging along. I'm just going to keep winning. Really, is at the end of the day, that's what I'm focused on. I've got Josh Shockley is huge shout out. That's my MMA coach. He's got UFC fights and a fantastic system. So my training's already going to the next level with him. And then I've got all my regular coaches, Jordan and Joe over at Southside, and we're making great progress. The great work it's in the process right now. And so yeah, just keep winning, keep fighting, keep enjoying the process, and someday make it to the UFC. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Have you heard about the O'Malley versus Marab fight happening at the Sphere in Las Vegas?
I have, and I am super excited about that whole card, to be honest with you.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you have any predictions? Anything?
Oh man, I hate to make predictions, but I think I'll put it this way. I think obviously like O'Malley, I can't really read that dude. I don't know. Like some days I can't really read whether he's just like that sincere and genuine, and with the different color hair and all the stuff he's got going on. So I can't read whether like I like him and I think he's just super sincere, or whether he's just like a complete tool as an individual. I just can't get a beat on him, but as a fighter and as an athlete, he is like unprecedented. The way that dude moves, his control of range, his angles. I mean, he is a freak of nature, and I love to watch him fight. So obviously, if he can keep it standing and he can keep it at range, 100% O'Malley gets the win. I don't want to butcher this dude's name. So yeah, Marab. I don't want to butcher his last name. Man, I've watched quite a bit of tape on him over the last couple weeks, knowing we were going to interview. It's that classic. If he can close the distance and make it ugly and get chest to chest and push O'Malley up against the cage and get him to the ground, man, he wins, you know. So I'm excited to see it, but you know, he's got to not get clipped coming in like everybody else does with O'Malley. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm not going to make a prediction one way or the other. I think it's going to be a stylistic war. If O'Malley can do what he does and keep it on the feet and keep it long, he wins like he does every time. And if Marab can get in there, make it greasy, make it ugly, and push him up against the cage and dump him, then I think he pounds him out on the ground. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited about that one. And then Shevchenko and Grasso are fighting, and I'm like, yeah, man, I don't blink. That one's going to be crazy too.
Absolutely. They're both going to be crazy, crazy fights. Very intense, very high energy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we talked about that you've worked with multiple brands and partnerships, and they've obviously become increasingly important in sports. Is there like a dream brand that you would like to partner where whether it's sports gear, nutrition, lifestyle? What's like your dream collaboration?
So my rule on collaborations and sponsorships is like if I don't believe in the company and the ownership and the product or the service that they offer, then I won't team up with them. Like the money's just not worth it to me. If I can't like honestly market them and honestly put them out there and not feel like a total fraud, you know, like I'm just doing it to get paid like so many other people do. So that's kind of always been my rule. I have like it's so random. I have a run of the mill different everything from assisted living centers up here to your like traditional chiropractors, physical therapists, sponsorships. So yeah, I don't really have like a brand set out, just things that I love it that I love, things that I use, things that have good morals behind their company, that you know have good leadership to their company, and that sell a legit service and a legit product. Is I'm always open to any type of relationships with them.
Absolutely. Those are the best type of partnerships, the ones that you actually believe in, you actually use. I think that's beautiful because you're promoting a product that you genuinely love.
100%. Yeah, I won't do it any other way if I don't believe in it. If I feel like I'm fake for you know pumping it out there. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell Coca-Cola or anything like that. You know, it's like it's got to be something that I believe in and I use myself, and or a service that I believe in and I use myself.
I agree. If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring fighters looking to make it in the MMA world, what would it be?
Man, chase your dreams. That's it. Don't give up. You know, too many people give up, especially in modernity. It's like nobody sticks with anything anymore. It's like we want instant gratification. Everything's at our fingertips. The internet, you know, it's everything is so available. Like MMA is not. It takes years. I mean, I've been training this on and off for really seriously for 3 years. But before that, you know, I boxed, I did other stuff. You know, I did some bare knuckle training and never with good coaches or anything. But for 10, 15 years, I've been training this and I've just scratching the surface. It's like something that, you know, you spend, same with weightlifting. It's like, you know, 10, 15 years in and I'm still feel like a beginner. So it's like, yeah, don't give up, stick with it. You know, it's not instant gratification, but if you stick with it in the long run, it's like it's so worth it.
Absolutely. Then you're gonna look 5 years back and you're gonna be like, wow, I've improved so much. I'm like doing
Right?
my thing. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Yeah, that's it. Just stick with it, don't give up.
Absolutely. And what legacy do you hope to leave behind both in and outside of the sport?
My goal for legacy has always been just to be sincere, be myself. I love to fight, I love to strike, I love the violence of it, the brutality of it, to let the war wolf out. And so my legacy, I want to have exciting fights. I don't, you know, I'm not looking for easy fights. I'm not looking for guaranteed wins. Like, and I'm definitely not looking for safe wins. I don't want to go in there and lay on somebody for 3 rounds and eck out a decision. Like, I want to go in there and have fireworks every single time. And I want the crowd to love it. Like, I want them to feel it in their bones like I do. So that's what I'm always shooting for. Exciting. I want to be exciting.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So we're coming to the end of our interview. Like, is there anything you'd like to say, shout out, mention?
Yeah, definitely shout out to Southside Jiu Jitsu Academy. Coach Joe, Coach Jordan, Coach Shockley over there. Could not do it without them. All the training, all the fight, all my brothers and sisters over there that are helping me get ready. So shout out to them, and then shout out to all my sponsors: Southside Strength and Fitness, 907 Stitch, the Salts family, Assisted Living, Dr. Jake Ramel at Belon Chiropractic, and the Drip Bar. I couldn't do it without them. You know, this is they're always there and they offer awesome stuff. So they believe in me. That means the world to me. Other than that, that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ragnar. I've had an amazing time interviewing you for QA today. And thank you once again for taking the time to chat with me today.
Of course, anytime. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys at Millions.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great one.
Yeah, you as well.